Okay, so hi everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I am super excited. My name is May, and this is not my first time at Reversim. It was actually the first time that I spoke here at 2018, and I am so excited to be here. So let's begin. Having written code in several different languages, I've been writing in Clojure, Node.js, JavaScript, and I've developed large-scale data pipelines and algorithms, and I loved it. I loved being a backend developer. But after quite some time, I decided that I want a new challenge. And you know what? What's a better challenge than develop tools for developers? Because developers, they know good tools when they see them, and we love to hate tools as well. So, becoming a DevOps engineer, I'm going to tell you right now what I gained from it. Because why not start from the end? So the first thing that I got from becoming a DevOps engineer was exposure to a wide range of problems and engineering solutions. Now, here is why. Because as a DevOps engineer, you work with all of the teams in the R&D, and you get to hear about their problems and about their engineering solutions, and you don't always get a lot of context. So this means that you get better at solving problems with very little context. The next thing that I got was elevating my coding skills, because I write code that other developers use as their tools, and they will tell me what they think about my code right away. So it just did the magic. So I truly believe that now is a very good time to start our talk. Going from a backend developer to DevOps, the force awakens. So my name is May Beisaron. I have been a backend engineer for over 5 years. Today, I am a senior DevOps at Forder, and I've been writing in Clojure, Node.js, and Python, and Groovy, and Clojure is still, till today, my favorite language of all. I am an international public speaker, because I love sharing my knowledge on the stage. I do that in many different countries, and I love most to do it here in Reversim. I'm also a mentor because I love helping other people become the tech speakers that they want to be. So if you want, just talk to me. And yep, I'm a sworn Star Wars fan. I don't think that you could have missed my R2-D2 heels. And yeah, you can also see that by the theme of this presentation. Let's talk about the milestones that I went through on the way to becoming the DevOps engineer that I am today. But you know what? Before I do that, there is one thing that I would like you to remember. Those milestones, they contain tools and actions that I took even before I became a DevOps engineer. Those are things that helped me in previous roles, so I honestly believe that this talk will help you no matter what role you are currently in. These are the main milestones that I had to go through to become the DevOps engineer that I am today. We will start by talking about the learn, how to learn, comprehend complex systems in an efficient way. Then we will talk about the listen, how to change your mindset from creating customer-facing products to developing internal code and tools. And then I will talk about being the force, but I don't want to spoiler this to you, so let's roll. Get it? I think it's funny. So, learning. Let's do this. Stress. That's what I felt when I looked at the huge list of things that I had to learn. I needed to learn about cloud computing, infrastructure as code, CI/CD pipelines, and although I did have some knowledge about those things, it was still a lot to comprehend. And the one thought that I kept having was, whoa, how am I going to learn all of this? So, breathe. And once I calmed down, I remembered that this is actually not the first time that I'm doing this. It's not the first time that I have to learn a new tech stack or start using a new tool. So I can do this. And the first thing that I knew I have to do is to start using my words. And here's the first thing that I did. I went ahead and I drew a very simplified flowchart of the CI/CD pipeline that we have at Forder. Now, what happened was when I did this, I went over to my teammates and I talked to them about it. I talked to them about the things that I felt that I know, and then they reassured me if it was right. And then I also talked to them about the things that I wasn't so sure about. So maybe they explained more to me. And it was super helpful because when you explain something, you can be sure if you know it for real or you need to dig a little deeper. So this is the first tool that I had in my learning toolbox, using my own words to describe the things that I learn. So now that I have this, I think that I needed something more because this describes the how, like how things are done at Forder. But it's not enough in order to learn, to really, really learn about the things that are being done at Forder because I needed to use calibrated questions. And what do I mean by that? Asking more about the why and not just about the how will give you a much deeper perspective about the things that are done at the company that you work at. So let's take a look at some examples and you will understand what are calibrated questions. So for example, asking what are some common use cases for a certain tool and why they chose this tool over some other alternatives, it will give you a deeper understanding of the use cases and the requirements of the system and the users of that system, and it's much more helpful than just asking how things work. You want to know the reasons. And the thing about asking calibrated questions, especially if you ask, hey, why did you guys choose this tool, is that it will, I guarantee you, it will spark up a conversation that might turn to be a heated conversation because you will find out which ones of the teammates absolutely hate the tool that you use, and they will tell you all about it. And you will find out which one of the teammates, they absolutely love those tools, and they will tell you all about it. So you get a better connection with your teammates, and you learn about the use cases and requirements of your system. So now we have these two tools, and the next thing that happened was a memory attack in my brain because I've been learning and asking questions and everything was nice and well, but when I started to try and do things, it was null, just absolutely nothing. Because some things that I was told, they were not documented. And it's not because the documentation is poor, it's because some things, they're just not worth documenting. Well, I disagree. So what I did, it was very simple. I started to take screenshots and place arrows on super, super simple things. As you can see over here, and this is real from my note app, I say, paste here, press there. And I even added a screenshot of the code where I need to paste the commit hash so I won't forget even that. I just don't count on my memory. This is what you learn. But for real, those screenshots helped me a lot. So, we have use your words, we have the calibrated questions, and we have the how-to guides. Next up, we have the listen part. So after I've learned about the system, I wanted to take on a new challenge. So the challenge that I got was to develop a feature to automate some part of our deployment flow. And I was so happy about it. Whoa. I posted about it in the Slack channel, and I told everyone how fabulous this is. It's automated, it's cool, I got all the thumbs up, I got the crowns, it was amazing. And then I got this private message, hey, how do we turn this thing off? Oh, whoops. Why? You don't like it? But it's so good. I'm telling you it's good, because, I wrote it. And other people from my team, they also said it's good. If I developed something that is super cost effective and it's really, really good because, the dude that did my code review also said that it's really good, but people don't want to use it, is it really that good? I don't think so. So how did I end up in this situation? I'll tell you. It's because I needed to change my mindset from the way that it was when I've been a backend developer to being a DevOps. And how do I do that? Look, as a backend developer, when I was requested to develop a new feature, they told me what is needed to happen. They told me what they would like me to add to the system, what the customer needed. But they didn't say, hey, you need to use this library or you need to use that plugin, because it didn't really matter to the customer. But as a DevOps engineer, when they tell me what is needed, I should also consider how to do it, because the end result, the product that I develop, will be used by the engineer down the hall. So if it's not something that they like, or it's not something that is adapted to their needs, I end up in that situation where they ask me, how do I turn that off? After I worked very hard on that. So I have to tell you this. DevOps is about fostering a culture of collaboration. And it's collaboration not only with your teammates, but also with your customers, which are the developers of the company, and also other developers from the DevOps community. So let's take a look at what I did. The next challenge that I took on after that automated deployment was to plan and develop the architecture of plan and develop the deployment definition for Kubernetes. Now, I didn't do that alone, and I had to take on a very big decision. So it was either to go with an in-house tool that we have for configuring our cloud resources, which is written in Python, which is pretty good because it was easier to develop and the integration was easier. And then the other choice was to go with an industry standard tool, which means I will have much more information because it's an industry standard tool, but it's new. So I might have a bigger work to do in the integration part. Now, how do I decide? So what we did, me and my teammates, we decided to ask the users. So simple. And the first thing that we did was to publish an architecture design review document. But because we know people, documents are not really everyone's thing, the next thing that we did was a Helm preview presentation. And what we did in that presentation was we said this, look, when we're going to go to Kubernetes, this is what it's going to look like if you use Helm. And we asked them, do you like it? What do you think about it? Does it look easy enough? Is it annoying? What do you guys think? Just tell us. And this has created such a good conversation. Okay, there were some people that were kind of annoying, but okay, they're not here, so they won't mind, they said it. But really, it just created a conversation, and they felt that we care about what they want. And that's what I want you to take from this part. Listen to your users. And it's not just because they're right down the hall and they can go right up to you when you grab that coffee and be like, hey, what about this thing that you did? I don't like it. It's not just because about that. It's because, remember, if you create tools that people don't want to use, are they really that good? So, to sum it up, user requests are just as critical as performance, cost, and ease of development when making architecture decisions. But this is not the only thing that I did at that time to decide between that Python DSL and Helm. I went ahead and I asked the community, the DevOps community. I talked to other DevOps from other companies because many companies face similar or even identical infrastructure problems, and then I can learn from their mistakes or their successes. So I asked those DevOps about the tools that they chose. And more specifically, I asked them about the adoption plan. Because when you bring a new tool and you need to give it to your users, you need an adoption plan. You need to get your users to start using that thing. Maybe it involves some changes to their code. Maybe it involves even more than just a few changes. So there has to be an adoption plan. And I asked those DevOps, how did they do that? The other things that I asked were about pain points and pitfalls, but not only technical pain points and pitfalls. I asked them about their users' experience because I wanted to know, how did it go with Helm in their company? What did their users think? Was it difficult? Was it as good as they say it is? It's okay, I guess. But now you're going to ask me, where? Where did you find all those DevOps people? So, first of all, meetups and conferences, that's the easiest place. Just talk to each other. Simple, right? And when you just start to talk to people and you share your experience and then they share theirs, it's very good. And another thing that I did, which would be, I don't know if everyone feels comfortable with it, but I'm just going to put it out there, is for an example, there was some plugin in Jenkins that I wanted to do something with. So I reached out to the repo maintainer of that plugin, and he was so nice. They don't always answer to my messages, but when they do, that's very, very good, because I get the source, I get the person who wrote it, and then I can ask them and share my ideas with them. The last thing that I'm going to say is that I think you should go into and I say that I think you should because it's a lot to handle, to join some Slack workspaces like the Kubernetes Slack workspace or the Jenkins Slack workspace or some Discord servers. Because what I did in those, for example, I wanted to examine a policy engine. And I just went ahead into the Kubernetes Slack workspace, and I looked for Kyverno errors and Kyverno fails, and more juicy word like this. And I found out some very interesting things that I wasn't able to find when I just Googled in the documentation of those tools. And it was super helpful. This actually didn't involve a lot of communication, so if you don't really like that part, you can just be that lurking in the shadow, reading everybody's thoughts. But those Slack and Discord places, those are really, really good for getting the real juice on the tools that you're trying to decide if you want to take them or not. So, the next thing, I'm so excited about this one. It's to be the force. And yeah, it's going to be with another example. So let's talk about the next challenge that I had. So we were starting to move forward with Kubernetes. At Forder, we have around 120 engineers. Question mark, I think. Yeah, I got an affirmation. Yes, we do. Very important, important number. Remember that, or don't. Anyway, we started to talk about the Kubernetes migrations, and I didn't do that alone, but the thing that I did do was I was the user's advocate. It was something that is still till today, it's very, very close to my heart, and I just wanted us to prepare for the migrations in such way that the users will feel, again, valued and appreciated. And so, it's time to use the force. Because I know that migrating to Kubernetes, that's a big one. That's a big ask. And even if it's a management decision in the company, it does not mean that the developers want to do it. And it does not mean that they will make time for it. So we need to plan. We need to find a way to get them on board. We need to see how we get that buy-in. It's not something that is just given to you, again, even if it's management decision. And I think this is one of the most crucial things that I would like you to take from this talk, is that sometimes, even if there are management decisions, it does not mean that the people around agree with it, and it does not mean that it will just happen. So you have to be proactive about it. And here's what we did. The first thing that we did was discovery sessions. And it means that before every migration that we started with some team, we had a meeting with the team. We talked to them about their systems. We talked to them about their current deployments and CI. And we asked them, what do they need? What are the things that are crucial? And what are the things that maybe are not as important? And we mapped out all of those things. And then we were able to know that maybe we're just not ready yet. It happened. True story. And maybe we're not ready yet, but we can develop this feature because other teams will need it. How do we know that other teams will need it? Because we talk to those other teams. And while it wasn't perfect, it was a very good start, those discovery sessions, talking to the teams, specifically each team, and asking about their problems truly helped us understand what are the needs that they have. So when I say invest time and effort in communication channels, not another Slack channel, although we have a bunch of those. We have Kubernetes migrations, Kubernetes migration team name, Kubernetes migration team name. But I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about creating those personal meetings with the people. Guess what? More meetings, but don't raise your eyebrows. I know people hate meetings, but because we created meetings with real target, with real something that we wanted to get out of those meetings, they were good, I guarantee you. So what are those collaboration sessions that I'm talking about? After we started the migrations, I set up a few meetings in the calendar with the ones that were doing the migration from the teams. And I said this, listen you guys, this meeting, it's optional. If you feel that you need to talk to me, if you feel that you have some questions or problems, obviously if there are problems, they'll find me, yeah. But if you have some, you just need some time from us, from the team, from the DevOps team to talk about the migration, that's already set up. We can always cancel that, but it's there. So this way, they felt that they can trust us. They felt that they can trust that we will be there for them. And it wasn't so easy, and I couldn't do it by myself. We had to all be aligned about that it's okay to schedule those meetings and do those sessions with the people, but it actually worked. Was it perfect? No, but it was a very good start. And so, the next thing that we did was the documentation feedback loop. Now, I don't know if you're ready for this, but it's coming. When we started the migrations to Kubernetes, here's what I said to the developers. Take this migration guide and be lazy. I said it. I told them, be lazy. If this thing looks too long, don't do it. If it's too complicated, don't do it. If you just don't understand, whatever, you don't want, whatever, just don't do it. It's okay. I mean, if it looks okay, do it, but if you don't think so, just stop right there and tell me. Don't just leave a comment, right? I want to know, so tell me. And why was I so provoking like this? It's because I knew that if something is too complicated to explain in a simple guide, it does not mean that I can just simplify the guide. Maybe I need to go back to my tool and simplify my code or simplify the tool itself, which was so important in all of the iterations that we did in our Kubernetes offering. It helped us a lot. The fact that I was able to get that feedback from the developers and actually take it to the team and to discuss with them, hey, this is what this and this developer said, maybe we should do something about it. We simplified so many parts of our Kubernetes offering, and it was just because we were in constant talk with our developers. And it wouldn't be possible if I didn't create that contact from the beginning. It's something that was built up. You remember when I said about the Helm, and then later on the discovery sessions, and then the collaboration sessions, and yes, the Slack channels, and it's all together that they felt comfortable, and they felt that they want to invest the time to go ahead and tell me, hey, I don't really like this thing. And they weren't just, I'm just not going to do it. Let's not do the migrations, right? And that's what we want. We want to have that good connection. Now, whether this connection is because you are a DevOps and you want to have connection with your users, or you're a developer and you work with a different team. Remember, they don't have to do anything with you. You need to create that collaboration. You need to show them that you want to invest time in talking to those people and actually do it. Really do it. And these are the 3 milestones that I've been going through today. And let's go through what I've said here so you'll have it with you when you leave this room. So the first thing that I talked about was learn. I talked about how using your own words helps you to truly understand what it is that you're trying to learn, and then you will get either affirmation that what you're talking about is actually the thing, or maybe you'll need to go dig deeper. Then try to ask calibrated questions to understand the why and not only the how. Don't only try to understand how things work, because this is something, how things work, I'm sure you'll get it through your hands, but the why is what will lead you later on when you try to develop new things. And how-to guides. I just love those screenshots, and it's pretty famous at Further, I have to say. But it's really helpful to just take a screenshot, put a bunch of errors, and remind yourself what you need to do. Take this load off of your memory. I don't know, it helped me, my memory is not that good. So then I talked a lot about listening and talking to your users, and I'm gonna do it again because it's very important. So remember, user requests are just as critical as performance, cost, and ease of development when making architecture decisions. It's very easy to forget about it, and it's very easy to get all caught up in trying to improve the performance. But really, if you're creating a system that people don't really want to use, is it really that good? And be the force, first of all, because you can, and second of all, because if you invest in communication channels with your users or other teammates or other people from the DevOps community or any other community that you're part of, it means that you get all their information, and then you can also provide your information, and it just helps everybody. So do that by creating meetings or documentation feedback loop and sharing your information, even at conferences or meetups, because it is just so helpful, and it really helped me along the way. So before we finish, I'm sure you can't guess what the answer is. Yes. Is it worth the effort? Yes, it was worth the effort, because working with multiple teams and helping them solve their problems when I got a lot of times just very little context, it just elevated my problem-solving skills. And now I can't say that I'm the best, but I'm pretty good at it. So another thing was, it just elevated my coding skills. Having so many developers look at your code, oh boy, that was frightening. It still is, actually, but it just really elevated my coding skills. And last but not least, talking to the community. I cannot tell you how much value I got from other people in the DevOps community. And I still do that all the time. If I have to select a new tool, if I want to think about a new architecture, I always call people that I know from the DevOps community, and they're always there to provide answers just the way I am there for them. And I highly advise you to do the same. And with that, I will say thank you.